Welcome to the We Are VIP podcast. Each week, your host, Casey Hasten, Director of Recruiting at VIP, will bring you valuable insights from thought leaders, introduce you to incredible companies, and bring you tips for landing your dream job from our team of executive recruiters at VIP. And now, Casey Hasten.
Hey everyone, welcome to the We Are VIP podcast, a podcast devoted to bringing you value in your career and candidate search. I'm your host, Casey Hasten, Executive Recruiter, Director of Recruiting with VIP, and all-around hiring guru. Today on the show, I have two really special guests. We have the Shawn McBride and Floortje Lopes. Shawn McBride is the Chief Innovation Officer of McBride for Business and McBride Attorneys, and a successful podcaster and writer. He's been seen on TEDx, Super Lawyers, and in the Wall Street Journal. He is all about empowering business owners, employees, and others to live a life they love. He's created his own personal brand, the Our Shawn, and is an expert on the topic of branding. Floortje Lopes is the founder of Treeful of Scones, a leading branding agency in Amsterdam that specializes in brand creation and strategy. Floortje is also a very well-known speaker and a business coach, helping companies transform into strong, long-lasting, authentic brands. Her mission is to help companies transform into leader brands, which are powerful and profitable brands that make an impact on the world. Today, these two incredible thought leaders join me to discuss the Leader Brand Summit coming to Dallas September 19th and 20th. This conference is a first-of-its-kind experience designed to equip and empower companies with the skills needed to establish their brand and grow it to new heights. Today, we'll talk a little bit more about the goal of the summit and how you can benefit from attending on behalf of your company or as an individual. Shawn, Floortje, thank you so much for coming on the show with me today.
Thrilled to be here.
Me too. Thank you for having me.
So guys, tell me a little bit about what prompted this summit.
Well, you were there, Casey, but the audience wasn't. So
exactly.
We were all at a conference. The three of us happened to all be at the same conference. And, I've known Floortje for a while. And she went on stage and she really hit a lot of strong branding points that people in the audience were interested in. And next thing you know, she came off the stage and something Floortje and I had been talking about for a while kind of just materialized. People were like, hey, will you come back to the U.S. and teach us about branding? There's so much for us to learn. They engaged with her, and that kind of sparked us getting this summit to come together because it was time. People raised their hands and they said, we want more of that. We need the enhanced education. So we really started listening to what people were asking for, and we started tailoring the summit.
Awesome. Floortje? What do you think about that?
Yeah. It went exactly like that. What I noticed was, I'm from Europe, so I have a perspective that is different than that is already available in the US. And I think what happened was that the value that I could bring in the past conference was really about empowering people how to do it themselves. And I think that was a very strong point that also resonated with the audience, which made them say, hey, I need more of this. I don't only want to be inspired, I also want to be empowered to do it myself. And I don't want to only see other people that have a strong personal brand, but I want to be able to, have the steps, have the tools to create my own personal brand and experience all the benefits from that. And that's how we created the summit. Like, what can we bring in 2 days that people don't only get deeper insight why it is important and how to do it, but also then strategize it, how it's much more doable and how it's easy to implement.
So I know you guys have broken this summit up into 2 days, with Floortje doing day one, Shawn taking over on day two. I might have a little cameo, who knows? So Floortje, kind of walk us through the structure of day one.
Yeah, so first of all, the most important thing is that people really understand. And we spoke about it. You came to understand how important it is to have your personal brand. It doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or an intrapreneur, if you are, your brand or a brand within a brand, but in every situation, it's just very powerful to work on this specific topic. And so first of all, people need to understand and really see the value of it and kind of comprehend how it works, because branding is quite a complex puzzle. And what I want to do is make it very easy for them. So I will discuss exactly what the biggest branding mistakes are that probably everybody is making. I've been in this business for 15 years. I've seen people making the mistakes, and I either want to help them not make the mistakes or correct them if they are already making them. And then give them the exact steps how to become a leader brand or create their leader brand themselves. Because, for me, being a leader brand is all about how are you going to be authentic, powerful, successful, making your money, increasing your income, increasing your influence, and make that impact. So that is like bottom line what they're going to get. And I want people to walk out with their complete branding worked out on paper. We are like working. It's not that I'm just telling stuff and then, they're like, okay, that's nice info, but what do I need to do with it? We are going to work on it. We're going to have the space to ask questions. I love to do hot seats so people get the opportunity to be coached by me on stage. And I'm sure, in the years that I've been doing this, it will serve everybody in the room.
I think that's so amazing. And I just want to point out, is it okay if I mention about your most recent success?
Yeah.
So I
sure.
was so impressed, and Floortje just kind of laid this out there like it was not that big a deal. She's like, yeah, Nike just called me. I'm going to go do a conference for them. I'm like, did you reach out to them? She's like, no, they called me. So I want people to understand that the reason we went to Amsterdam to find the leader in personal branding is because she is the leader. She has been established as the leader. So you definitely want to come and hear what she has to say. So Shawn, your day 2.
Yeah. So what's different about the summit than every other is I know a lot of what Floortje is going to do on day 1, right? She's going to take branding, and she understands all the material. She's going to simplify it, but really get people around the brand. And day 2 is about taking that brand and connecting it with action. So that's what I'm going to dive into people with. That's what I do day in, day out, right? I help people build, execute business plans. We're going to take this branding concept, which you get on paper on day 1, the brand that you're developing, and we're going to take it and turn it into action. Where do you leave this conference? How do you start taking action on it? How do you put that brand to work starting next week, right? So many conferences give you great ideas and you walk out the door and you say, what do I do next? No, we're going to give you action steps to start building on that brand immediately. So it's going to be important information. You're going to learn a lot, but then you're also going to have to connect the dots to take it to your world and start using it.
So, and I don't want to bring this back to me, but I do want to talk about the impact that Floortje had, and Shawn too, because I never would have been at that Smart Femme conference and met Floortje had it not been for you saying, hey, Casey, you need to step it up. You need to go to the next level. You need to start meeting people. And guys, after hearing Floortje, I was so inspired that I went home. I put her words into action. So that was the end of April, 1st of May. By June 3rd, I had my website up with my personal brand. And that's been 2 months, a little over 2 months. And my world has changed. And so I'm building a brand within a brand. And that's what I'm doing at VIP. But having that assistance from Floortje, and that it's almost like she took her passion and put it inside of me and said, go. And I couldn't not go, So I really appreciate that, Floortje. That means the world to me.
Thank you. Well, just to elaborate a little bit on it, because there are a lot of events, a lot of summits, conferences, etc. And I dare to put like both hands in the fire and say you will walk out with a completely different perspective on your business, your career, yourself, the way you present yourself, the way you see yourself, because branding is a deep process. It's not just giving you tools and steps and methods. It's really understanding. I always say, in order to build an authentic brand, you really need to be yourself. But in order to be yourself, you really need to know yourself. And we are going to guide you through that process. And that is what makes it so powerful.
Well, and I think to that point, I think that I knew I needed a personal brand, but I had no way to articulate it. And by working with a personal brand expert, I came away going, wow, is that really who I am? That's amazing. I kind of like me now, now that I've done that self-evaluation. So, I mean, and as far as, and I think you've answered this question, but just briefly in a nutshell, tell our listeners, the people that might be thinking about attending this summit, exactly what they're going to be able to walk away with. What are their takeaways? Why do they want to be there?
They're gonna have a brand they can use. That's the biggest number one thing, right? Is you're gonna walk in there. Different people are gonna be different places in their branding journey. You may have had something you've put together in the past. You may have a little bit older brand that maybe is not serving you, or maybe you just don't have a brand yet. Wherever you're gonna come from, you're gonna see kind of how branding works. Floortje is very good with the theoretical. She'll talk about the different ways you can brand. You'll find the branding that fits with you and your personality style. And then day 2, like I say, we're going to drive it home. We're going to take that and say, okay, now you understand it. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to turn it into something that's going to work for you, bring you opportunities, make you money. We're going to teach you all the how. So it's going to take you soup to nuts from the beginning of just what is a brand, where do we go with this, to we're in action and we're doing something.
Did you want to add something to that, Floortje?
Yeah, I would love to. I mean, I love your
explanation.
I think yeah, of course. I think it's spot on what Shawn said. And I think what is very important, that it's not only the practical stuff, but everyone that will be there in that room will feel motivated, will feel empowered, and will be able to think and do much bigger than they did before. And that is the level of intensity that we also want to bring to the conference. And network. I mean, let's not forget it. We will have a room filled with amazing, like-minded, brilliant people. So even if we completely screw it up, then at least you have amazing people in the room that you can connect with. But I'm not afraid that we will deliver high quality value.
I think that's great, and you've actually already answered one of my other questions. So thanks about the networking. So let's kind of go back to I see the value for the entrepreneurs, right? And you mentioned entrepreneurs, and I thought I was the only one that knew that, so that had used that term. But let's talk about what people that are trying to build a strong branding to help their company or their departments, how is this going to help the person that's not looking to go out on their own, that is working in a company, do they still need a personal brand?
When it comes to me, yes, of course, for a few reasons. I mean, there are multiple reasons, but I will name a few. I mean, people think that they don't have a brand if they are not either an entrepreneur or a celebrity or an artist. The thing with branding is that either you like it or not, you have a brand, because your brand is the perception that other people have from you. And if you don't take charge of that perception, if you don't take that steering wheel into your own hands, people will have an idea, a perception about you anyway, but you might not like how they see you if you don't, take control over it. So, what is branding doing? It creates trust. It creates credibility. Mm-hmm. It creates rapport. It creates connection. So it creates a lot of things that you also need in the working place with your colleagues, with stakeholders, managers, whatever, clients. So actually in this day and age, to my humble opinion, you cannot afford to not invest in your personal brand.
I love that, Floortje. I've actually, you guys know I'm a huge podcast junkie, not just hosting one, but I mean, I probably listen to 4 or 5 a day. And the common theme I'm hearing from the thought leaders is you have to have a personal brand, and you need a podcast. You need that platform. And not everybody's going to do a podcast, but it's not that hard for everybody to do a personal brand. And another one of my guests said, if you don't write your own story, somebody else is going to write it for you, and you're not going to like how they write
Exactly.
it. And I think that's exactly what you just said.
A lot of truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Shawn, what's your opinion on people that are working within a company?
Yeah, well, your brand is not going to be the same as your company. Now, hopefully the two are consistent, right?
Mm-hmm.
They should interlock, because you shouldn't be at that company if your brand doesn't work with their brand overall. But you add different value to your clients, to your customers, to even the internal people you work with. And what the personal brand is about is coming up with a way to communicate who you are very quickly so people understand you, so you are engaging with the right people in the right way. So it's critical. Whatever your style is needs to be communicated to the world. And that's what the personal brand's about. That's what we're going to help people do, is say, yes, the company does this, but this is what I do really well. We're going to help people serve up that piece of knowledge about themselves to the community very quickly and easily, consistently. That's what the brand's going to do. And it's critical in this day and age. We all have to have that, because it's a very noisy world. Everybody's busy. Everybody's racing around. You've got to have that way of communicating quickly who you are, what value you add, and how it works. And we'll tie that down. That's critical for people that are employees to have that too, because their coworkers, their customers, everybody around them needs to understand who they are.
Well, and I think you just said something that is a little bit off topic, but I do want to bring it up. I mean, it's so important that when you're dealing with people, that you give that value first, and that you are showing them what the value is, and before you make the ask of your client or candidate or whomever you're working with. What kind of person do you think will benefit most from attending this conference? I mean, what kind of role do you think they would be in?
It's designed for business people. We're very strong on that. So it's somebody within the business community, and we've really designed it to where it either could be that business owner who's going to take that brand of themselves and then use that as part of the bigger piece of their company, or the person that's a leader within the company. So it's for somebody who really wants to strengthen the communication about who they are, whether they're owning the company or whether they're working within the company. So anybody that's in a business role, communicating with other business people, communicating with customers, that's who's really going to take away the value.
Okay. What do you think, Floortje?
Yeah, I think exactly the same. It's either people that are like creating brands within brands, or people that own companies, or own a business, and they want to be more out there but with relevance, and they want to create. I always say that there are a few steps that you need to take before people can say yes to whatever you have to offer. It can be your knowledge, it can be that your products, but it can also be your ideas. There needs to be relevance, but there also needs to be preference. They need to prefer you over any other option in the marketplace. And I think that is what branding does. And Shawn, you said it earlier, you said it very nicely. Your brand is actually a shortcut to communicate tons of information in a very short period of time. And also, if you have a strong brand, so everybody, entrepreneurs, that either want more focus and want more confidence in how they express themselves and how they communicate, this is what you will get in the summit. So in that sense, yes, you need to either be a leader, want to inspire other people. I mean, that's a very big part of it. If you are in a company or you have your own company, you want to inspire other people. That's what leaders do. They inspire by being self-example.
Absolutely.
And we want those kind of people with that mentality. We want those people in the room, because we know that they will also as a ripple effect, create more impact in our world, in the societies, in the communities that they are in, the companies, the teams. And with that, we create just, a better world in the end. But that's what true leaders are.
What would you say to the business owners that big companies? So, and Floortje, I think I want to direct this to you simply because you just had this happen with Nike, where you were teaching them to build that brand within the brand. How would you explain to our listeners that are clients that are saying, well, maybe that's a good idea, but do I really want my employees building their own brand, or do I just want them, representing ours? How would you explain that to them so that they would feel comfortable sending their employees to a branding session?
Well, I think if you look at a bigger company, then the people in your company that represent your company are very important, powerful assets. And the stronger those people feel, the more empowered they feel, the loyalty to the company will grow. If a company like a corporate or what they help their employees to grow and develop, there will be a loyalty to the company. And that's something that sometimes companies are afraid of, that if they empower their people that they will go. It's not true. That's not how humans work. If you invest in people, they will invest in you. That firstly. Secondly, the more confident your people are, the more powerful they will express themselves also as your ambassadors. I mean, if they build rapport easy, if they build credibility much easier, if they have connection people internally but also outside the company, it will benefit the company.
I think that's absolutely true. And I just want to point out that, again, going back to my company, obviously they're very forward thinking because they're hosting this podcast, number one. They're co-sponsoring the Leader Summit because they believe in the power of personal branding within a company. And I will tell you, with them having taken those steps, do you think I'm going anywhere? No way. Well, I'm staying right where I am.
Can I come in with the tougher version of this, which is, if you're a company and you've got a lot of employees and you're thinking, hey, do I do the branding personally for my employees or not? I'll tell you what, people do business with people. And the truth is, they really don't want to do business with your company. They want to do business with people within your company, right?
Absolutely.
It's the people on the phone that they're working with. It's the relationship it has. That's where the trust is. Trust is such a critical part of business today because there's a lot of bad apples out there, a lot of people chasing the quick dollar. That trust from that employee to that customer is what's really making your sales. That's what's driving your business. And one of the best ways to get trust is to have a good brand, act consistently with it. People are going to start to trust you because they're saying, oh, that's what I thought that person was. That's who they are. I can do business with them because they're going to help me the way I need to be helped. So it's critical. The companies that are ignoring the personal brands of their employees really are not servicing themselves for the long term.
Wow, that was very well said. So we're almost out of time, so I've got a few more questions for you guys. So I'm going to move through this one pretty quickly. But let's talk about those people that are outside the Dallas area and that want to, work on their personal brand. What are some resources they can turn to, build that personal brand? Let's say they listen to this podcast and they live in Minnesota.
Well, there's no reason they can't get on a plane
Book
and get to the Leader brand. Yeah, exactly. It's really worth it. I mean, we're going to bring home so much there. So, I mean, if there's any way you can get to Dallas on those dates, I would start there.
Do you think,
Floortje, go ahead.
I agree. I want to say book a ticket. I mean, you don't want to miss this one. And, it's always easy for us to say this because we know what we will teach. We of course, we trust and believe in whatever we're going to tell. But I think if I look at the people that I work with that attended my events, they always say this was life-changing. And recently I got a text from one of my clients. She is in like a community. And then someone said, oh, Floortje Lopes, yeah, she's like the European Tony Robbins, and she's better than Oprah.
Wow.
I was like, okay, that's a good message to get.
Yeah.
Or people in my rooms that said, I've attended events from like big gurus, and I followed millions like online programs, but what you taught me here, what I got from you here, now it all makes sense. It just clicks, and now I understand it, and now I can start working on it. So yeah, I mean, how much time does it cost? How much is a flight? If people are really not able to make it, Shawn and I are creating more content on this. We are creating a Facebook group at the moment, or we're having a Facebook group, starting a YouTube channel. So I think that's something that, it's very easy for people to work on it. And also, my resources will be available soon, both YouTube and podcast.
So, and I just want to tell our listeners real quick, since that information is not available yet, if you will go to our website, wearevip.com, and go to our podcast landing page, there's a form there where you can fill out your information, and I will keep you in contact with Shawn and Floortje that way. Guys, we're running out of time, and I have 3 VIP questions that I want to ask you, and I think I'm only going to have time to ask one. So this one's going to go to both of you, okay? And I'm going to give you the easy one, not the tough one.
Yes.
So, and I hate that I can't ask all 3 of them today, but when the 3 of us get together, we just talk too much. So, Floortje, I'll start with you. What is one thing you do to start your day that sets you up for success?
Great question. I think the most important thing, once I have my kids out of the door into school, because a lot of people start their morning routine before they get up and running, didn't work. Tried that, didn't work. So for me, what really works is after I, get to the office, that I'm clear on my goals for that day. I plan my big stones, my most important priorities. I don't check my email.
Very important.
I only check my email twice a day, preferably before lunch and before end of the day. I always say, and maybe it's not for everyone, but for me, I always say the E in email, it's not for electronic. It's for everyone else's agenda.
Oh, yeah.
So, because every email you get, someone wants something from you, and it always takes your time. So I also plan when I have my emails, but I also plan my phone calls. And if I have my plan for today, for that day, including my breaks, then I start working, and that makes me very productive. It makes it keeps my energy level very high. And it makes that I'm very focused, and that I'm also very proud at the end of the day because I did everything on my list.
I love it. Shawn, what do you do to be successful?
I'm the planning guy, so you probably won't be surprised by this, but I'm starting to plan for the day when I start the day. So first thing I'm doing is I'm closing out the prior day. I tend to have a couple of things I'll think about overnight. I might dream of something. I might have some insight, so all that gets noted. And then I'm looking, much like Floortje, about what needs to be accomplished today. So I'm building the plan. I know what the plan of the day is before I start attacking the day. So for me, it's critical to take that moment, step back. I have the big plan of what I'm accomplishing over the next 5 to 10 years. And then I break it into what's getting done today to get us to that goal.
Amazing. You guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I just want to make a special note real quick that it is like almost 11:30, almost midnight in Amsterdam, Floortje?
It's 12. It's midnight. Exactly midnight right now.
I'm so sorry.
I'm full of energy. I mean,
well, thank you for joining us so late. And the last thing I want to say to you guys, both of you, Floortje, Shawn, you are VIPs.
And that's a wrap for today. Join us next week here on the We Are VIP podcast. We'd love to know how we can help you be a VIP. To find out more, log on to wearevip.com.